Just flip the mics on and take the reins and go for it, huh?
He's like, I think tonight might be the night I watch Wolf of Wall Street, and I quickly replied with, fuck you.
That's right.
Once we get the grill, I want to make a beer can chicken.
Maybe we'll get like a sponsorship out of Weber or something, you know? Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice.
How about that for a 2-year stretch? Good Will Hunting and Saving Private Ryan back-to-back years. Talk about being on top of the world as a young actor.
Hold my beer. But we're recording, so.
That's it. All right.
Leave me hanging. Cheers.
There you go. Cheers.
Long time in the making.
Should we do like an intro, even though there's no song? Should we do like a welcome?
I think we just keep talking.
There's got to be some kind of a what this is.
This is what it is. We're talking.
Just flip the mics on and let us take the reins and go for it, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the Garage Party Podcast, Episode 1.
There goes the intro.
I'm Rich Warnock. You got to give our names.
I'm Billy Manuel. Nice to meet you guys.
There you go. Nice to meet you. For those of you who may remember us from our infamous days with Sports Justice. Back,
R.I.P.
What was that now? That's got to be 4 years since it ended?
At least, yeah.
At least 4 years since it ended. That was us and a couple other people who we've tried to recruit for the Garage Party Podcast here, but rejected like Dikembe Mutombo in the 90s. Absolutely swatted away. No interest.
Zero.
None. Kind of blows me away.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, me neither.
It would have happened sooner if everyone was on board.
Yeah, we've floated the idea of a podcast for a long time, and now with essentially the world being shut down, you do what everybody does, and that's start a podcast. And that's from everything I've seen on social media, there are people that have podcasts now. I don't know what the hell. Some of these people never talk, and all of a sudden now they got these podcasts.
Now's the time better than ever.
I mean, what else are you going to do? You're sitting at home all day. You might as well
play Call of Duty, probably.
Yeah, well, we certainly do plenty of that. That's for sure.
There's time for both, though, I think.
There's always time for Call of Duty. We've spent many nights until 3 a.m. playing Warzone and Plunder with some of the people who didn't want to do this podcast, by the way.
We'll leave our gamer tags in
we'll drop those.
Various areas.
Yeah, we'll drop those on our social media, just in case anybody wants to join us one night for a Plunder or a Warzone. But basically what we're looking to bring you here, and I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know what this is going to turn into. We've basically floated the idea of doing a podcast now for, seems like forever. Ever since Sports Justice ended about 4 years ago, we've thought about doing it.
I feel like, even like during, we were like...
Yeah, well, Sports Justice wasn't really a podcast.
Yeah, because we were live on air, on online radio.
That was more of a daily, what was 3 times a week?
Yeah.
We used to do 3 times a week, about 3 hours.
Like Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, something like that?
Yep, about 3 hours a show we used to do. And it was basically just up-to-the-minute sports news and sports talk. But ever since that ended, and me and you have kind of been like the ringleaders of this. We've wanted to do a podcast for a long time. But the one thing that I like about our format that we have here, and we'll make some announcements in the coming days as to what platforms we're going to be on, how you're going to be able to hear us, what streaming sites. Hopefully, we're not going to announce any of those yet, just in case there's some snags on the road. But basically, we wanted to do something where we don't have any restrictions, where we can go out and we could talk about sports, we could talk about movies, we could talk about music, we could talk about anything. And right now, having a podcast that's predominantly about sports, it's not going to work because there's no live sports going on right now.
Yeah, you see how it's working for ESPN right now. It's literally just
they had
games from 1990.
Right, all these old games. And I've enjoyed rewatching some of these, but you can only do that for so long. And they had the 4 weeks or 6 weeks of The Last Dance, which kind of bought people. You had something to look forward to every Sunday night. You could watch those 2 episodes.
It was really just a tease because I just want live basketball back.
Yeah, right. Now, if anything, watching The Last Dance just made me eager to watch some live basketball. And, of course, that's, as we record this podcast today at least, that has not been announced as to when that will even be a possibility. And certainly for us, for those of you who don't know, Billy's a big Chicago Bulls guy. I'm a Knicks fan. But even for Knicks fans, it doesn't seem like even when the NBA returns, they're going to be a part of it. And neither will the Bulls, for that matter.
Yeah, their playoff chances are kaput.
Kaput. Both of them.
Long kaput.
Yeah, it seems like neither one of them will be part of whatever plan the NBA puts in place for a return. But,
and that's across all sports right now. Everything's in limbo still with COVID-19.
Right. As we sit here, everything's in limbo with COVID-19, with the protests that are going on that we've seen over the last couple days, and I'm sure we'll carry into the next coming weeks. And, we'll see where that goes. And it just seems like right now is kind of a crazy time in every possible way. It seems to be one thing after another in 2020. But we've decided to put this together where we can basically chat about anything and everything, and hopefully we'll see where it goes. I mean, it is what it is. We're not bound by any restrictions. We can talk about anything. We're going to have hopefully a lot of interaction with you guys, the listeners. We have our Gmail set up. We have some social media accounts set up. We're thinking about having a mailbag segment where we can kind of get in contact with you guys and you can ask us questions.
Have we set the name yet?
Have we set the name for what? The actual podcast?
Yeah.
Well, I've been saying Garage Party
Podcast.
Podcast.
So there it is.
And for those of you who don't know,
now we're married to it.
That's it. It's on the first episode. It's official. The Garage Party Podcast. Now, for those of you wondering why Garage Party, because if you look at our social media, because Billy here is a photographer and he has a lot of equipment, he's taking pictures of us right now and little videos and vignettes that he's going to put together to kind of promote this. And, he's going to put this together. But you'll see that we're sitting on a couch in my apartment here in Bayside, Queens. So Garage Party Podcast, the name, you might be a little bit confused.
The location may vary, but based on where we are, what we're doing.
Right. So
we may eventually do it in the garage, hopefully.
It's possible. So to give you a little update, Billy, I believe in January, right? You moved out here to...
Yeah, I moved here the very New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
January
he moved
1st.
Here to beautiful Bayside, Queens. And I, came to visit him one day, and we saw the place and loved the area. And long story short, 4 months later, I live here as well, right around the corner from Billy in Bayside. And, surrounded by our apartment here are these really nice garages that we've just kind of come to discover that we can turn that garage into our own kind of
hangout,
almost like a barbecue pit, a fortress, whatever you want to call it. We could do whatever we want.
I don't know about fortress.
Fortress maybe a little, maybe that's a little
There's no
nerdy.
There's no moats around it. Or?
Yeah, that's not great. It's a hangout. I like the way you described it best. Hangout. Hangout is probably the best way to go. But we could turn it into we could have a barbecue in there. We can have some weights in there. I'm more excited about the cooler and the barbecue, but that's neither here nor there. But we're excited about the garage. We've decided that we're going to get one together, and we're going to try to turn it into a nice little hangout spot where also perhaps we can do this podcast in there. But the problem with that is the electricity issue. Now, there doesn't seem to be any outlets in there.
Where there's a will, there's a way. I can figure something
out. Right, and if anybody can figure it out, it's you. You're probably the most technologically savvy person I know. But to be able to put this podcast on the air without electricity, I think is going to test your skills.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, I know. You can, if anybody can do it, it's you. So there's a possibility that we may bring this podcast to the garage. Possibility we keep it right here on the couch. Who knows? We could fluctuate.
Both will work just fine.
Both will work just fine. You'll still be able to hear us. Maybe you'll hear us from the garage. Maybe you'll hear us from the couch. But either way, you'll be able to hear us, and that's the most important thing. Now, basically, turning this podcast into what we want it to be, it can go a number of different ways. Now, right now, it's very difficult to talk about sports. There may be a time later on in the podcast when sports are back, the NBA's back, NBA playoffs, NBA finals, exciting stuff, baseball, football, the whole 9 yards. But for right now, let's just discuss the quarantine itself, what you've done, how you've gotten to the point you are. You're safe, you're healthy, you haven't gotten sick. We've had a few scares along the way, mostly with myself.
Yeah, I've been...
You've been fine.
I've been more than fine. I've been just sitting at home. I've been very bored, extremely bored.
Yeah.
But my job was one of the earlier ones to shut down, as was yours. So you were working from home pretty early on.
Right.
But and then I was working from home, just doing some video editing from home. And even after that, I was, just bored, sitting at home, waiting for this to all blow over. And it's been longer than I thought it would so far. And but luckily, I'm healthy. As is Rich. He had a couple scares. He thought he was going to get COVID. He thought he had COVID.
I did. I
103 fever is definitely scary, even not during an epidemic.
That's what threw me for a loop. A couple weeks back, got a little sick, went to the city MD. Long story short, the test was negative, didn't have the COVID. Part of me is happy I didn't have it, but part of me would have liked that I had it, and then I could have gotten over it and, maybe put it behind me. But we continue, and we have to continue to stay safe and wear masks and all that interesting stuff. But
the mask is definitely interesting. Has been interesting.
It has been interesting, and for those of you who could be listening out of state, we're doing this podcast from Queens, New York, so we're kind of in the epicenter of everything here. When this whole COVID-19 outbreak begun, probably even before we were shut down, the city and work were shut down. The epicenter of it was kind of Italy. You heard Italy's got it bad. Yep. Well, that changed quickly.
And we were all kind of making jokes of it. We didn't know.
Yeah, nobody knew. I mean, nobody knew what was going on. Everybody was kind of like,
come.
Right, and nobody knew that it was going to take nearly the toll that it has on this city and certainly the cities across not just the United States but the world. And it's really been interesting to see how people react and how things happen when everything is shut down. Every facet of life that you have known, whether it's getting up, going to work, going out to dinner, going to get a haircut,
completely
the simplest
altered.
of things are just gone, altered.
I don't know how many
changed.
times I've walked in and out of the house because I forgot my mask.
Right. Yeah.
Simple things like that.
It's been very
once you get to the store, too, everyone's wearing masks, every single person. And some places even have lines spread out for social distancing, they're calling it.
I have seen
where they're 6 feet away, and you have to keep your distance from everybody. Everyone's nervous about contracting this illness. And, yeah, it's just a crazy time. It's a weird time to be a part of.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. It's obviously our hearts are out to the families who've lost people. There's been plenty of them here in New York, New Jersey, the tri-state area, but really across the country and across the globe, it's really been absolutely terrible. But as we sit here, hopefully things are starting to get better. I mean, things are still kind of in limbo. You get these people, they don't want to. You take away anything from these people and they just lose their minds, and it's kind of crazy to see, but it's the nature of the world that we live in now, and we'll see where this goes. Hopefully it improves in the coming weeks. I mean, you gotta hope that small businesses start opening back up, start getting money, and they're able to kind of get back on their feet. It's really taken a toll on those guys, and we'll see where it goes, but hopefully, cross our fingers, things are starting to get better.
I think some of the things like the masks and the distancing and some of that stuff is stuff we'll see continue for the rest of 2020. I don't see it going away anytime soon. But there's only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say when exactly we'll be able to get back to life as we know it, going to a game, going to a concert, going out to a bar that's at full capacity, a restaurant, sitting down, ordering a meal, just things that you do every day that, you never thought would be altered. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and all those things no longer exist. You're not able to do them anymore, or you're able to do them, but with a lot of different rules and restrictions and regulations on these things. So cross our fingers, things are starting to get better. But I'd like to move on in terms of the coronavirus, but what's been the thing this pandemic that has been the biggest challenge for you throughout this entire thing?
Not having my daily routine of going to work and, doing photography, videography, doing events. I'm used to working 10, 12-hour days every day, and now I just come home. Well, I stay home.
Right, yeah.
And I just have all this energy. I'm up till 3, 4 a.m. I got nothing to do.
That's where Call of Duty comes in.
Yeah, I got a little bit of cabin fever to the extreme, as probably many people can relate with. And that's definitely been the hardest, just not having my normal routine.
Have you binged anything that you've been, anything that you wanted to do pre-quarantine that you've finally been able to do?
All right, so 2 separate questions, right? Anything that I binge? I've been watching Criminal Minds. I never watched it before.
It's been around for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think there's like 17 seasons or something crazy like that. I'm deep into like season 6 now, but it went pretty fast. Yeah.
That's it. Criminal Minds. Criminal Minds is what
I think
the pandemic is.
I watched Waco also.
Waco, yeah. I actually just finished that myself. Very, it's not exactly the uplifting story that you wanted during this pandemic, but it's a very interesting story based on a true story with Michael Shannon, Taylor Kitsch. Pretty good. Streaming on Netflix right now.
I also watched Jack Ryan, but it's only 2 seasons, so that lasted me only a couple days. That's a pretty good one, too, on Amazon.
Yeah. I've heard of that, but I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, so he's a CIA agent, and he gets caught into, like, this terrorist operation. I won't go too into detail, but that was a pretty good show. And other than that, it's just been random movies, stuff I've watched 1,000 times, like Breaking Bad and Dexter, watching them over again.
Right. Yeah, I find myself rewatching a lot of the things that I've seen 1,001,001 times. I mean, a lot of people.
That's what you do all the time anyway.
I do that all the time.
He finally.
I know where this is going. Since 2014, this has been a question coming from Billy.
He finally watched Wolf of Wall Street.
Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge movie guy. I love Martin Scorsese, love DiCaprio. Never saw Wolf of Wall Street. Never saw it. And Billy has been on me for this ever since the day it came out. He said, you got to see it.
I gave up. I had given up.
You had given up. There was about a 3-year hiatus, I would say, where you gave up. But it went strong there for a while. It was recently,
like a few months ago. He's like, I think tonight might be the night I watch Wolf of Wall Street. And I quickly replied with, fuck you.
That's right. That's exactly the response that I got. And to be fair, that's the response I was expecting.
Because he didn't watch it.
No,
I didn't watch it.
I think, as a matter of fact, I rewatched probably some Seinfeld, maybe some Frasier.
I could have guessed that.
I probably rewatched one of those instead. But finally, just recently, and I'm talking about very recently, within the last week, it came up again. I don't know how. I think we were probably on Xbox talking about movies, talking about DiCaprio, Scorsese, whatever the case may be. And the movie came up again, Wolf of Wall Street, and I've heard great things. It's not like I've heard, mixed reviews here and there. I've heard nothing but good things about this movie. It finally came up again. I happened to mention in passing to my girlfriend, Casey, that I'd never seen Wolf of Wall Street, and she was just as blown away as you guys were because she said, how is it possible
you
you've
have
never
a lot
seen
of those that blow me away that you've never seen.
Yeah.
You can keep going. We'll get more into those.
We can get more into those, yeah. It's a pretty substantial list of movies that I haven't seen. But finally, when I mentioned to her that I had not seen Wolf of Wall Street, she basically handcuffed me to the couch and said, tonight's the night, you're watching it, it's over, you got to watch it. It's 3 hours long, you just sit there and watch, and that's it. So that's exactly what I did. I sat there and I watched all 3 hours, and I got to tell you, loved every second of it.
Yep.
Loved every second of it.
I was pretty surprised when I got a Snapchat of you sending me the opening of it, and I was like, well, have fun.
Yeah.
Seen 3 hours.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun ride. You watch one maybe 15, 20 minutes too long. Maybe you can eliminate a scene here or there. But you know what?
Yeah, it's a few.
Yeah, but for the most part, this movie is extremely entertaining. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, you're going to say, boy, I got a podcast from 2014. They're reviewing Wolf of Wall Street. How the hell did I get
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Not the case. We are reviewing this. It's 2020. First time I've seen Wolf of Wall Street. Excellent film. Excellent film. One of DiCaprio's best. Still, it amazes me that he had to finally win his first Oscar.
I'd love to compare notes with you, but mine don't go back that far.
No, yeah, 2014. I know that's it's difficult to have to go back and relive what you thought of back then about the movie. But it really blew me away. His acting has always been fantastic, no matter what it is, whether it's.
But it was the supporting cast that really carried it, I feel like.
I agree. And Jonah Hill, excellent. Matthew McConaughey, maybe he's in it for 8 to 9 minutes. Absolutely kills the
Not your
both
typical
scenes.
Scorsese flick either.
No, but it did happen to remind me a little bit of Goodfellas.
Yeah, you said that. I didn't really catch that. Maybe
just kind of
because the narration.
The narration, the kind of dictating towards the camera at certain points. Almost kind of like they're talking directly to you, not necessarily with the other characters. It's almost like it's being, directed right towards you. That reminded me a lot of Goodfellas. Just, the overall feel, but obviously a much different tone and a much different theme in this film. But really excellent. I would say one of Scorsese's best, for sure. It's good to have finally seen this. I'm very excited.
It's
good now. I can say I've seen it.
It was probably longer getting him to watch that than it was us talking about a podcast.
Well, I think when Wolf of Wall Street first came out, Sports Justice might have still been on the air.
I feel like we were in school. So we may have had Sports Justice going, but it's neck and neck for sure.
It's definitely close. It's got to be close. But definitely happy I finally saw it. So for me, this quarantine has finally allowed me to see Wolf of Wall Street, something that certainly Billy has been clamoring for a long time. So that's good.
Another one that shocked me is this kid had not seen Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Until you were, what, 21, 22?
Yeah, and I'm 26 now, so it's not like I haven't, it's not like I just saw it recently. I saw it about 5 years ago and probably 1,001 times since then. But
that's one of my favorites ever.
Yeah, it's one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah.
It might actually be on my Mount Rushmore.
That's saying a lot.
Top 4 all time.
It could be.
I mean, what else do you need? Great acting, great writing, great directing.
Yeah.
It's hard to say Matt Damon and Ben Affleck at their peak because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it might have been their first movie.
Yeah, they wrote it.
Yeah, they wrote it.
I don't know if it was their first time acting in a movie.
It's got to be one of their first few.
Because I think Matt Damon was like a child actor, wasn't he? Was he in a couple things when he was really young?
I don't know if he was a child actor. I know DiCaprio was a child actor, wasn't he?
I could be talking out of my ass. I know DiCaprio 1,000% was.
He was a child actor. I don't know about
Grape
Damon, yeah.
And all that.
But I don't know about Gilbert Grape was actually the first time that Tarantino, I believe, discovered.
And then what was the one where he was like a heroin addict?
What are we talking about?
DiCaprio.
Heroin addict? As a kid?
Yeah, he was like a teenage heroin addict in this movie I'm thinking of.
I don't know. You sure it exists?
I didn't write it.
Getting confused with somebody else?
I didn't write it.
I mean, we could pull it up.
Yeah,
we live
IMDb
in,
it. Go early 90s, mid 90s. DiCaprio, IMDb. I can't think of any other plot point to help you get to
Just
there.
DiCaprio heroin addict is what you're going to leave me with.
Even if you Google that, I feel like it'll come up.
I could. I mean, I'm on IMDb right now, but I could go the
because as
DiCaprio
far as acting, I
addict.
feel like that was one of his most powerful performances. He's, obviously his body of work is crazy to get into, but
yeah.
Let me give a scroll.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this to you because you have a better idea than I do. But
oh yeah, way too late here. We gotta go early 90s.
Early 90s. DiCaprio, heroin addict.
Yeah.
How do we even get on this?
Good Will Hunting, of course.
Child actor,
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting is definitely a movie that brings you to Leonardo DiCaprio as a heroin addict.
Brings you crazy. Go where the night takes you. Have been a motto.
A theme we've lived by for certainly a long time. Yeah, I saw Good Will Hunting. I was 21 years old, and that was at that time they couldn't believe that I hadn't seen that movie because that movie came out probably 90s. I mean, that's another simple.
I think it was
search.
like 94.
But yeah, mid 90s. And I saw it for the first time probably in 2015. But that's another one of those movies, that you see and it sticks with you. And it's one of those movies that you can see a million and one times after the first time you see it, and it just never gets old. You can sit down and write the screenplay because you know it so well, and you still get goosebumps watching it actually play out on screen. So that's what I would compare seeing Wolf of Wall Street to for the first time. Now, I think we have a winner. Billy has been feverishly scrolling through.
That reminded me of my Sports Justice days because I was like the Johnny on the spot with like stats and stuff like that.
You were the research guy, the update guy. We sometimes we would throw you an update when you didn't even have one.
Yeah.
We can maybe drop that little.
Let's not relive it.
Yeah. I was going to say we could drop that little clip into this, but I don't know if it's something you want to relive. Now, I have never heard of this movie before in my life. Never. Got to be honest with you. Now, I'm looking at the cast here, and it's pretty interesting. It's called The Basketball Diaries, and it came out in 1995. Good reviews. This could be right up there with a movie that I probably should have seen and have not. It's very possible.
I don't really remember. I just remember him being a crank addict.
Yeah. The harrowing world of drug addiction, yeah. So this is Leonardo DiCaprio and Lorraine Bracco. Lorraine Bracco of Soprano stardom, and obviously a million and one other
I think
things.
that's the mother, his mother.
She does play his mother in the film, also starring Mark Wahlberg. Who knew?
Didn't they have like a beef, the two of them?
Marky Mark and Leo?
Yeah.
Well, you can go back to Leo's days with the Pussy Posse. Marky Mark, was that a beef?
Probably upset a lot of people.
Competing, perhaps?
No, like I think some movie came up and Wahlberg did not want to work with Leo. Like,
Well, I gotta imagine
Like-
it's this one, right? Because they haven't worked
like
together
Leo-
since The Departed.
Leo was already locked in. Well, that was earlier, no?
No, this is 95, yeah, but they worked together on The Departed.
Yeah, so they probably squashed it since then. In between there, somewhat. It could have been from that.
Yeah, it's possible. Never seen this movie, so perhaps I make this a challenge to watch this movie before the next podcast, and then we can discuss the Basketball
All right,
Diaries.
I'll play some odds on about this happening. And
Well, if I go out on a limb here and I put this on the air and say I'm going to watch it, I leave myself with very little choice. Because I can't come on the next podcast and say, well, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, I can if I really wanted to. Yeah, what the hell am I saying?
I put it at
absolutely
like
could.
50-1 that Rich watches it.
50-1.
We also don't know when we're going to record the next podcast. I don't know the time frame
Yeah.
that I'm giving him to watch it.
Got to imagine we're going to record the next podcast within the week, right?
Yeah.
Not going to go much longer than that, I wouldn't imagine. 50-1. Nah, I'll take those odds. I think I'm going to watch it.
All right.
I feel like I have to now.
I might watch it with you.
Yeah, what the hell? I mean, what else are we doing?
I don't remember anything from it.
Yeah, I mean, well, you remembered one key part that he was a heroin addict, but that seems to be about it. Now, 1995, Leo, what is that? That's got to be one of Leo's first movies, doesn't
What
it?
we were really trying to get to was Damon. Was he a young
A child actor.
Let's see if he did anything before Good Will Hunting, because that was the main thing we were looking at.
Okay. Let's again, a simple IMDb search.
I'm going to say he probably did. Maybe something small.
Child actor. Matt
Maybe
Damon.
something big we're overlooking.
Okay.
Because what year was Good Will Hunting? Was it 95, 96?
Goodwill was 97.
97.
Yeah. And he actually had done a few movies before that.
Anything reputable?
Well, this one's interesting. Field of Dreams.
Interesting.
Baseball fan at Fenway Park. He was uncredited.
Makes a lot of sense.
uncredited. It does make sense, but uncredited.
We
Oh,
gotta,
no, I didn't
we gotta
know.
like YouTube that or something.
I didn't know. He's in it.
YouTube search like Matt Damon.
I mean, that's not great for a podcast because they can't see it. But I guess all you got to do is just YouTube it. But he was in something called School Ties in 1992. Have you heard of it?
No.
No, me neither.
Is that a TV show, movie?
It is. It's a movie. It's him, Brendan Fraser, Chris O'Donnell. Yeah.
And he just dives right into one of Rich's Mount Rushmores.
Now, if you want, right into Mount Rushmore. And here's the interesting part: the following year, Matt Damon makes his second appearance on my Mount Rushmore in 1998 with Saving Private Ryan. How about that?
That's 97?
Goodwill is 97. Private Ryan's 98.
Wow.
How about that for a 2-year stretch? Goodwill Hunting and Saving Private Ryan back-to-back years. Talk about being on top of the world as a young actor.
I want to know what got into him. Just back-to-back, late 90s, nothing but net right there.
You want to know the third movie he made after that? Rounders. Which I've never seen, but I hear it's great.
I thought you just watched it.
But I hear it's great. So you got Goodwill 97, you got Saving Private Ryan 98, Rounders 98, never seen Rounders. So now I have 2 challenges before the next podcast. I got to see Rounders and I got to see Basketball Diaries. And we're only, halfway through this podcast?
Okay.
God only knows how many more homework assignments I'm going to get.
300 to 1 he watches both.
Well, now obviously the odds are higher because now I got 2 homework assignments. But again, if this was a normal time, I would say maybe. But what else am I doing? I'm sitting here all day long.
I mean,
all day long. You have no idea the little that I do.
You find a way.
I guess it's possible. Rounders, card game, if I'm not mistaken.
Poker, yeah.
Poker, okay. Not a big card game guy. Do you have to be a card game guy to like this movie?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Because I do like Ed Norton.
Yeah, you don't have to be into cards at all, especially with like some of the dialogue and like it kind of gets what do you call it, third person, where he's when he's talking third person.
They kind of explain it to you.
Yeah, you're like inside Matt Damon's head as he is telling you about the intricacies of poker at a high level when you work as a team.
Okay.
So like him and Ed Norton like working together to like, read people and, manipulate hands and stuff like that by just strategy and, eye contact and hand motions.
All the things that go into poker.
Hidden and little tells and stuff like that. He kind of explains everything like that.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. You can't see. You'll see it once.
Fuck your notepad.
You'll see it once Billy promotes these pictures of us on the couch. I got us 2 lovely notepads here. Mine's blue. I gave Billy the red one. But I got us 2
favorite
lovely
color, actually,
notepads.
So that was a good job.
That was totally accidental. I didn't know that. I kept the blue notepad. He's got the red one. I have just written down in my notepad. Now, granted, for my notepad, I don't know if you can see this on Billy's camera. I only have 1 sheet of notes. But right now,
it's also just a time lapse. So
that's big. So they're not going to see my 1 sheet of notes.
Nope.
But basically, what I have written down here is Basketball Diaries and Rounders, both on the page. And what I want to do is I want to do a segment in episode 2 where I review both of these movies. Now, again, we're going to confuse the audience because both these movies, as I just said, from 1995 respectively and 1998. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to review these movies as if they had just happened today, because to me, they are just happening today. I've never seen them. Never. Basketball Diaries, I swear to God, I've never even heard of.
I'm putting the odds of Basketball Diaries at 50-1. I'm putting the odds of Rounders, because I feel like you talked about it earlier than Basketball Diaries, a little higher. And because Casey also wanted you to watch that.
Yeah, she loves that movie.
She's the driving force. So
she has been, yes.
I'll put that at about 15-1 because I think you might actually watch that.
15-1 for Rounders and 50-1 for Basketball Diaries.
Yeah, and then if we were doing a parlay, I put it at about 130-1. These numbers mean nothing. I'm just putting numbers.
I don't know. Me personally, if I had to put odds on this, I would say there's a better chance I watch Basketball Diaries. I don't know. I gotta be honest. I don't know anything about poker.
Neither do I.
Nothing about poker. Nothing.
I only know what I watch from Rounders.
Okay. So okay. Maybe it's possible that I'll fully enjoy Rounders. Cards.
It's more about the
never
story.
Been my
like,
thing.
I don't know if you watch like trailers or like a synopsis or anything, but it's more about the story of like because Ed Norton goes to prison.
Well, don't ruin it for me. I'm gonna watch it.
Well, I mean, if you watch the trailer, if you watch the trailer, you'd get everything I'm telling you right now. Right. So Ed Norton goes to prison, and as he Matt Damon's playing his life clean. He's off poker. He quit, and he's not a gambling addict anymore. And once Norton comes out of prison, he kind of gets Damon back into the scene, and it gets him into some sticky situations.
Okay. All right. And Basketball Diaries, Leo Heroin.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Okay. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to put both those movies on my to-do list before episode 2. Now, episode 2, for all I know, we can record that tomorrow. So I got to get to work on these pretty quickly. I'd like to review them both before the next episode. So, I'll certainly get to work on that. But, hey, maybe this is good. The podcast has already given me more enlightenment into movies.
I bet you a bottle of Buffalo Trace that you don't watch both by the next time we record.
Oof. Well, that's just silly. Because now if I have that motivation, I mean, I'll put them on while we're doing the goddamn podcast.
I don't know if you will.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully. I'd like to do it.
You at mid-scroll.
Buffalo Trace on the line. Wow.
Mid-scroll, you would reach Seinfeld. And you'd be like, oh, I'll watch this for a half hour. And then all of a sudden.
Yeah, 5 hours have gone by. It's happened to me millions of times.
Yeah, I know.
That's really what prevented Wolf of Wall Street for all those years. But now look at it. Now, and Casey's getting annoyed at me. I'm walking around here all day long. I'm quoting it all day long. Like it just happened, yeah. I'm walking around. I'm pounding my chest like Matthew McConaughey in that scene at the table. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, I'm doing that all day long. But, to normal people, unlike myself, I mean, this movie came out in 2014, so I look like an idiot.
You're behind the curve a little bit.
Yeah. That's usually the case. Well, now I'm going to be even further behind the curve because Basketball Diaries 95, Rounders 98. But I want to watch this because Rounders for Matt Damon, I mean, what a three-peat. Goodwill, Saving Private Ryan, and Rounders 3 straight years. I mean, 3 straight movies. That's got to be where he laid his foundation.
Departed 2000, 2001?
Yes, but he's made some good movies between that, hasn't he? Got to be. Here, let's see.
I'm saying that was still like 5 years that he did those.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to imagine that those 3 movies really laid the foundation for him.
Because then you go all the Jason Bourne movies.
Mm-hmm. Took him to another level.
Yeah.
Finding Forrester.
I don't know if I've seen that.
That's a good movie. Sean Connery.
Is that? Oh, okay. It's not that musical one.
2001, Ocean's 11.
That's also
All-star cast, but, you know, he's right in there with them.
Really good.
Right in there with them. Kind of takes a little bit of a break. Born Identity. That's where he comes in. Then he's got Stuck on You.
I like that movie.
I enjoy Stuck on You a lot. Him and Greg Kinnear in that movie, very funny. Yeah. All right. Now I got a good homework assignment here that I'm going to work on. Cool. I like that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we will. Hopefully episode 2. And hopefully this podcast holds me to it because now I'm going to look like an idiot if I come in on episode 2 and I haven't seen either one of these. So we'll hope when we record that I've seen it. Now, what's the thing at the end of the pandemic that you're looking forward to doing the most? Something that you haven't been able to do that you can't wait to do?
Sitting down in a restaurant and eating.
Yeah.
Or like going to a bar and not having to. I feel like it's going to be a really long time until you don't have to wear a mask and this and that. But yeah, like mask-free life at like any restaurant, a nice restaurant, and just sitting down, eating, drinking, having fun.
Okay. Yeah, that's right up there with me. I feel like that's where the majority of people are at. Restaurant, bar. I want to go to a game. I want to.
Yeah.
One of the keys for me.
Ball games up there too.
Yeah, one of the keys for me moving here to Bayside, Queens, City Field, 8 minutes away. There's nothing going on there, and there's nothing to see.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to. Even if baseball comes back this year, I don't think we're gonna go.
We won't be able to actually go.
Yeah, there won't be an audience. I don't think.
Yeah, no. Gotta imagine it'll be the same thing for football. Although the NFL has been talking as though they're gonna proceed with fans. I don't. How that's going to be the case, maybe it's 25% capacity, maybe less. I don't know. There's still a lot of things that need to be decided over the coming weeks and months. But, yeah, for me, it's a restaurant, just sitting down, going to a bar.
Which is the big reason we even are pursuing the garage and getting a garage.
Yeah, it's a big key because
we can't go to like rooftop bars and hang out. So
right, we have to almost create the rooftop garage, quote unquote, environment. Yeah.
Get a few lawn chairs and just sit and drink.
Real redneck style.
Yeah.
Garage, lawn chairs. But hey, I mean, I'm all for it. Get a nice grill.
Yeah. I know nothing about grills. Do you know anything about grills? I really don't.
In terms of what? Using one or picking one out?
I feel like the using is the easy part. But
that's what I'm saying. I know how to cook on
when I read like reviews, I don't know what the hell I'm looking for.
What could you really need to know?
I don't know. They say like 2-burner, 5-burner.
I think that's
is
just
2-burner not enough burners? Is 5 burners too many burners? 26 inches or 36 inches? Is 26 too many? Too few inches? Is 36 too many inches?
I could be way off in this. Are the burners the amount of things you can cook on it at once?
No, I doubt that. I think it's the actual amount of like little, almost like a stove, like the amount of like flames. So the amount of like hot spots, I think it is.
So if you have a 2-burner, it would take you longer to cook your burger.
It could be, but a lot of the 2 burners are also smaller grills, so it's like it's surface area.
Right. So 5-burner, you'd be able to cook more. Isn't that correct?
More and yeah. Right.
So 5 burners. So really the burner.
But like, are we having fucking old style cookouts with 100 guests, or is a 2-burner fine?
I didn't plan on it, but the Garage Party podcast may take off. These people might want to show up, have a burger, and talk about Basketball Diaries.
Maybe one of them know how many burners we should have.
Yeah. Again, we're so early in this process. What's our Gmail?
Our Gmail, I think, is
Let's take a second and
gmail.com.
let's make sure we get this right. Just do a quick double check. We checked IMDb for DiCaprio and Damon. Let's just make sure that we got the right Gmail. You can email us.
It's garagepartypodcast@gmail.com.
All right, that's pretty easy.
Yeah,
pretty self-explanatory. Good job by you, by the way. You handled the whole social media, the Gmail. That was all you. Nicely done.
And with the Gmail comes the YouTube too. So this will be.
Oh, nice. So we can broadcast this on YouTube too. Okay, cool. Maybe we'll get like a sponsorship out of Weber or something. Talking about burners.
Wow,
Wouldn't that be nice?
that would be nice.
Garage Party podcast brought to you by so-and-so.
A lot of the Webers are actually pretty expensive, but if they want to sponsor us and give us a free grill
for the Garage Party podcast, I mean, come on, why not?
It's a long shot, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's worth
maybe not as long as me watching both these movies.
I think it's
longer.
It's a longer shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Looking forward to some garage parties.
I think it would be cool. Yeah. I think it'll definitely be. It'll give us something to do. We can get out there.
And I love barbecue food too.
Oh, barbecue's the best. Barbecue's the best.
I've never done it, but once we get the grill, I want to make a beer can chicken.
Now, when you say beer can chicken, you're talking about where you actually stuff the beer can into the chicken?
You stuff the whole chicken with a beer can.
And then it's supposed to...
Yeah. I think you take out some of the beer, maybe like 3/4 of the beer, and then you stuff it in there. And I don't know if it, like, evaporates into the chicken.
How does that work? What happens to the can?
You pull it out.
What, do you think that would melt?
A can?
It's aluminum. Aluminum melts.
I mean, yeah. It's not directly in a fire, though. It's overheat. It's not.
No, you're definitely right, because I've seen people do this before. I've never quite gotten it.
Yeah, I've never tasted it.
My other thing is, how does the beer get out of the can into the flavor of the chicken?
I think it, like, evaporates and makes the chicken really juicy.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, why not? Once they sponsor us and we have the grill, then
I'm doing it whether they sponsor us.
We can do some creative shit. We can really turn this into we'll take suggestions. Again, garagepartypodcast@gmail.com. Send us your barbecue recipes.
Yeah,
by all means.
Especially if you have a beer can chicken recipe.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's so much as a recipe as shoving a beer can up a chicken's ass.
I mean, it's got to be pretty easy because I saw Little John do it.
Are you questioning Little John's barbecue skills?
Now that I think about it, it's probably a bad idea that I question his skills.
Not great. What about Lil Jon gives you the idea that he can't make a barbecue beer can chicken?
I mean, yeah, you're right.
I could see. We definitely lost him as a sponsor now.
Yeah, sorry, Lil Jon.
Billy. All right. Well, yeah, and we can hope for the best.
Yeah.
Beer can chickens, ribs.
Ribs are great on barbecue. Everything's good on the barbecue, I feel like.
Burger, come on, classics.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting that I've always wanted to do? Barbecue turkey. How do you feel about turkey as a whole?
It's the most overrated meat there is.
Overrated meat?
Yeah. Even for, like, Thanksgiving, we stopped doing it.
You won't eat it? You don't
My mom makes a ham.
See, ham to me has always been more of an Easter thing.
Yeah, we do it for both. We do it for Easter, Christmas.
That's not bad. Ham is great.
Yeah,
ham is just great. See, I like turkey.
The pork is like probably my favorite.
Pork?
Yeah,
pork is top 3 barbecue meat of all time.
You could do pulled pork.
Should we get a smoker?
I've never smoked anything. Do you like smoked meats? I don't know.
I don't think I don't like. I mean, I think I love smoked meats. Right? What is it like brisket? It just falls apart.
Is brisket smoked or that's like
I think
slow
it's smoked.
Cooked? Is there a difference?
Is there such a thing as slow cooked in the smoker?
I mean, smoking it definitely slow cooks it, but I feel like there might be another genre of barbecuing called slow cooking.
So you just leave it on the barbecue, like all day long? That can't be the case.
At like 130 degrees,
low. You'd be going through gas tanks left and right.
What do you mean? That's what they do. They cook it for like 8 hours. You never watch any of these like barbecue pit shows?
Yeah, I do, and I think that they have smokers.
Some of them do, but some of them just slow cook it. I don't know. It could be two. It could be the same thing. Could be two different things.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate, though? We get a barbecue and a smoker?
But we're going to be out there for 8 hours. I don't know if I have that kind of.
I think throw it in there and you leave it alone. I mean, we should probably be on top of it because our garage is not exactly secure.
But yeah,
somebody could theoretically steal our brisket after 6 or 7 hours.
Actually, if we get the one that they said we're going to get, my bedroom window is right there.
Keep an eye on it.
I'll have binoculars.
I'll tell you what would really make this neighborhood smell nice.
Maybe
some
chain
smoked brisket.
Chain up Carmelo in there.
Yeah, nobody's gonna mess with it if Melo's over there. I may not even go buy it. How much do you think a smoker's going for these days?
I don't know. We gotta do some research.
We'll do some research.
Maybe there's barbecues.
These are all episode 2 topics.
Maybe there's combos.
Barbecue smoker, like buy one get one half off.
No. Like a grill that also you can smoke with. You think there's?
No, I don't think so. No, because a smoker is such a. From the smokers I've seen, I've done tours of different. As crazy as it sounds, when I was in St. Louis, I did a tour of like a barbecue food tour, and these smokers are so huge, they take up almost like an entire room.
Well, it's for like a restaurant.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I would want.
Like I've seen
Something
people
legit,
have smokers that are like 18, 19 inches, relatively small.
Yeah, we could do that. We'll look into this. I'm gonna look into a smoker. Why not?
Also, see if there's a combo.
There could be. I wrote again. So now this is a very weird note section I have: basketball diaries and a smoker price. Also, barbecue.
We also just have to do
smoker
general
combo
research on a barbecue.
Yeah, well, like you said before, you don't know anything about barbecues. I don't know anything about barbecues. I just know how to cook on one, but I don't know anything, like you were saying before, burners, 5 burners, 6 burners. I don't know anything about that. 18 inches, 26 inches, who the hell knows? My whole thing was I assumed that the bigger the burner or the more burners, the more you can cook at once. Which could be accurate. I don't think either one of us know the answer.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I've seen that I kind of like? You ever see these barbecues that have the light on them so you can barbecue at night?
Yeah.
Those are nice.
It is kind of well lit down there, and we were gonna add some lights in there too.
Yeah, we may not need that. Yeah, it is pretty well lit over there.
Because if it's between that and also being a combo smoker,
oh, well,
I could just be dreaming this up.
Yeah, and you probably are, because I don't think that exists. But
there's some that have like a little a side burner too, that you could put like a pot and pan on it too.
Yeah, I've seen those.
I don't know. Yeah,
I've seen those before.
That's an interesting accessory too.
Where you can kind of like heat up something. You mean, like a stove?
Yeah, like you could have like a little skillet on it, or like
that's interesting. Yeah,
a pot of water.
Right. Okay, I like this.
All interesting things we have to consider.
All interesting things. Yeah. So basically, quarantine has turned us into these garage people, where now we have a barbecue on the horizon, a smoker on the horizon, a garage podcast where we discuss everything from sports, movies, smokers, whatever you can possibly think of. If you ever in your life thought you were going to be this kind of person, the pandemic has truly changed us, right? Because I never thought that I was going to be sitting here with you on my couch in Bayside, Queens, doing a garage podcast, talking about smokers and barbecues. I never thought that was going to happen. But here we are.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So, yeah.
Brought out a different side of us this quarantine.
I'm excited about it. You know, you got to make the most of a terrible situation. And if brisket helps,
yeah, bring on the garage party.
Smoke it.
White neck trash, red trash.
Redneck, white trash.
White trash.
Yes, you were close. You just combined the two.
I got my colors mixed up.
Red trash. White trash, rednecks.
I could have created a new demographic.
Yeah, you may have. Yeah.
Red trash.
Maybe that's what we are.
White necks.
White necks.
We're white necks.
Yeah. Isn't that like a wolf?
A white neck?
Or a bird?
I don't know.
Am I thinking like yellow-tailed dove?
That sounds like a bird. You could be making that up, too. What the fuck do I know?
No, yellow-tailed tuna. It's like a sushi.
What am I, an ornithologist? Yellow-tailed tuna sounds
Ornithologist. Word of the day. Nicely done. What does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. I'm assuming it's a
birds.
Word. An ornithologist?
An ornithologist.
Get the hell out of here. How'd you know that?
I know things.
Ornithologist. Get the fuck.
Are you looking it up?
Absolutely. I don't think that's a thing.
Don't disrespect me like that.
How do you spell it?
I think it's ORNO.
Yeah, ornithologist. A person who studies or is an expert on birds. Well, I'll be a son of a bitch. Nicely done.
Yep.
Word of the day. Again, you never know what you're going to find out on the Garage Party podcast. Eh?
Paint me green and color me impressed, because I wasn't sure if I was right either.
Yeah. Hey. Well, what do you think? Think that's good for one show? Or should we, what are we at? We're at about 52 minutes. I mean, if the people have stuck with us this long.
I think our test is included in that too, but.
That's fine. If the people are still with us, then they're going to come back for a second episode. Right? Because now there's just too much riding in the balance.
What do you put the odds on that at?
That the people stuck with us?
Not that they stuck with us, but that if they're here, they come back.
20-1.
Wow. I take those odds.
You take those odds?
Those are good odds.
20-1, I would say. Could also be wishful thinking. The people stuck with us. I don't know.
What if I beg? Like, please come back.
No, it's just creepy. Now it just went up. Now it's 50-1.
It's 50-1 now.
Yeah, it's getting worse. Just stop while you're ahead. It's going to be the two of us here after this.
If I try and seduce them, this keeps coming back.
Again, yeah, 100-1. We should just pack up shop now. All right. Well, that is the Garage Party Podcast, Episode 1. There will be coming announcements in the coming shows, not just on the Basketball Diaries, but also on ways that you can hear us. We're working on a couple different things in terms of streaming platforms that you'll be able to hear us on. We're going to try to get ourselves out there on a number of different places to make it easy for you guys to be able to listen to us. There'll be some coming announcements on our social media. We're going to try to include a mailbag segment. Although if you're listening to this episode, please feel free, because we got questions up the wazoo in terms of smokers and barbecues and duo smoker barbecues. If you have the answers to this, please, you'll be helping us and doing us a favor.
Give us
Email
some recipes and...
Yeah, absolutely. Beer can chickens. GaragePartyPodcast@gmail.com. That's the Gmail right now.
Maybe that's our logo, a beer can chicken.
Might not be a bad idea. You know what? Every once in a while, you come up with a really good idea.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be a good
Why not? The people who know us best, who were tuned in from day one, will know exactly what that means.
A beer can chicken? I've never even eaten one.
Well, apparently Little John has, though.
Little John, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know where I was going with that.
Something tells me Little John is not listening. But either way, if he is, be sure to have him follow us on our Instagram, Garage Party Podcast. You won't find much on there right now, but believe me, we're going to start posting on there. We're going to start interacting with you guys. We want to really make this a two-way street with ourselves and the audience. We hope you're still with us. If you're not, we completely understand. Billy had his creepy voice. I wouldn't blame you yourself if you tuned out. Yeah, there it is again. If you're still with us...
It's not me. It was a ghost. I think your apartment's haunted.
That's not great either.
Listen to Rich and Billy.
Yeah, Garage Party Podcast.
Party in the garage. I think it's haunted. You hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Penis.
Boy, that ghost has something else on his mind. All right, that'll do it for us. Garage Party Podcast, Episode 1. We'll be back with Episode 2 in a couple days. We'll be sure to get you some more information how you can hear us. Again, interact, garagepartypodcast@gmail.com, Garage Party Podcast on Instagram.